All right, in this video, we are going to make a class. I am using Foundry version 12, and this is the DC20 0.8 beta rule set. So making a class is very similar to making an ancestry. That's actually why we went through the ancestries first, because what you learned at building an ancestry you'll use for building a class. So again, it's all in items, because when you create an item, the types there is you're going to have your class, and you're also, just like for your ancestries, you're going to build a bunch of features. So I have created the Scion, which is from the Patreon magazine. And much like I did with ancestries, I've put the features into little folders for level 1 and level 2. Currently in 0.8 beta, they only goes up to level 2. Yeah, you build everything in the item section. And as a reminder, you don't, and we'll look at it again, but you don't keep them here. Like when you're adding them to the class, I think I might be skipping ahead a bit, but you build them in here and then you move them into a compendium, right? So, I mean, I made my own psionics module with the Scion and the Cyborn, but you put them in your compendium before linking them to the class. So the individual features, very similar than what you did with the ancestry, right? You create a feature. Well, I'm going to call it big hands, and this is a feature, but this is not an ancestry feature. It is a class feature. So class, what class? It's going to be that Scion class has got big hands. So it's exact same way. Like there is no difference between building a feature for an ancestry than building a feature for a class. Uh, so you'll see for Scion Stamina, which is a little description. All I put, oh, bad me, I didn't put Scion in there. Uses cost, just that's to get your stamina back. Nothing too exciting for this one. Psionic Mind, though, what I did do, of course, is made a passive effect. That passive effect is supposed to increase your MD by 2. So in my effects, here's my system defense, mystical bonus, always add 2. So this is really the, using the active effects is really the part to get the meat of making the most of the automations and so on. So again, my previous videos talked in depth about it, so no need to redo it. So that's, and you can also always take a look at the other classes that have already been built, right? So if you look at like Barbarian, look, he's, there's the Barbarian class, there's the 2 levels of features just like, from Ancestries. Rage, of course, that's pretty intricate. So he built a cost of, what's not in the cost there? Okay, well, anyway, in the advancement part, what does Rage do? Well, quite a lot. You'll see that in effects that there is system defense, physical bonus, always, -5, all the damage resistances and so on. So it's quite intricate. So it's always good to take a look and see how they built the features already when you're building your own features to give you an idea of how to use it. Skill expertise. Again, it's going to be in the passive effects that you'll really want to see what he did there. System expert skills 1, skill point bonus 1. So you built your features of your class. Go back to items. So you built, no, that's my players. You built your items, you put them in nice little folders, which is, it's not necessary, but it's always nice for yourself and for when you're organizing everything. I mean, for example, too, they put in the cleric folder, it's not just level 1. They also broke it down into different blessings and cleric orders, to keep everything all nice and neat. So then once you have your features built, then you build your actual class. This is similar to the ancestry. but a little bit more intricate. That's why we're doing it after the ancestries. So configuration here, you can click them on and off. This is for your what your masteries are, right? So a Scion is a spellcaster, but you can again take a look at other classes. For example, you know, Bard. Bard actually probably looks very similar. Yeah, spellcaster, but it also has light shields for mastery. And then, of course, if you want to take a look at the Spellblade, I mean, they just filled the whole thing. They're both a spellcaster and a martial and all this stuff. Yeah, they're not overpowered. What is that allowed? All right, so the class table. This is where you build your class, like how many hit points and so on it gets. And these are editable. Once if it's in the item section, of course, this is where you are editing your features. This is where you would edit it, where you would change your max health. Obviously, Scions don't, but they get bonus stamina, and they get it at these levels. I mean, it has it all the way up to 20. Currently, right now on the PDFs, the classes only go up to level 10 for the tables, anyway, not the features. So, but this is for a future expansion, right? So bonus mana, it's been put in there, skill points, trade points, attribute points, maneuvers, techniques, cantrips, spells known. All these tables are good. And again, the PDF tables are really nice for those classes. So if you're building your own, you have a pretty good idea of, you know, how you should progress your class. Now, this is the meat of it right here, the advancements. This is, you added an advancement. I should probably call it something a little bit different, like level 1 or whatever. What did this Spellblade do? Oh, no, they call it class features and then disciplines. We'll get into that in a moment. So when you create one, nice blank sheet. But this area here, I'll open up the one that I've already made here. You drag and drop your features into this part. So just like you would for your ancestries, and it'll, when they create a level 1 of Scion, they will get all these features. And just like I'm beating a dead horse, you do not want to grab it from the items here, from the item folder that you created, because then when you move it into the compendium, it won't link properly. So you move the stuff into the compendium first, then you click and drag from the compendium into the advancement track. And heck, why don't I steal a feature, for example? Let me get, hey, you know what? It's going to have the sorcerer innate power ability. So I click and drag, and it's in there. It's that simple. So it will, when you take a level of Scion, it will add all of these features. Now, if there's a spell it automatically gets, for example, Scions get Cybolt, sorcerers get, what do they get? They get the sorcery spell. So if it's a spell that they automatically get for it, what you do is you grab the spell, again from the compendium. Even if you made your own spell, make sure that to put them in the compendium where you're going to keep it. You drag it into the advancement, and then there's a little book here. What it does is if you click on it, it doesn't count towards the known spells. And if you leave it blank, it will count towards the known spells. So quite simple there. Now, if there was a choice, like Scions don't really have any choices, but Spellblades and Clerics and so on, and Sorcerers have choices. So let's go into this one. So the difference for this one is this little check mark. Again, this is very similar to Ancestry. Requires choices, number of choice points you put in, and look, here's the same default for advancement, or is this a mandatory pick? Same columns as Ancestries. So for this Sorcerer Origins, they're going to pick one of the Origins. So when that comes up, when they make a class, here I'll show you what happens on the other end. I'm going to make myself Sorcerer Bob. I spelled it wrong. That's fine. Oh, no, I didn't. And I go and I grab my class. Oh, you can click on here and the classes come up. And I am a sorcerer. Here's the sorcery spell that I'm going to get, the abilities, I apply that, and then here comes the choice. So I have 1 point to spend, resilient magic. It brings it in, tells you, and this is from the table. Remember that long table that we built? This is all coming from that table. And now I have those features that I created, and even the spell. And it doesn't even count towards the cantrips max, just how we had it. Also, let's take a look at some other classes that have choices as well, right? For spell-based, of course, have choices, disciplines, but they have 2 choices, right? To be able to pick, each one counting as 1. And then if you're creating a level 2 advancement, right? This is where you would put the advancement level right there. And this is also how, for example, the cleric, when you saw that, it's in 2 separate ones. So, you know, the ones that you automatically get, and then the choice ones. And of course, clerics are for their sacred roles. So if I was going to do a choice for a scion, it would still be advancement 1 because this would be a level 1 thing. I'm going to say requires choice. I'm going to have 1 point to do it. And what are my choices going to be? Well, you know, you have a choice to have barbarian stamina and the commander stamina. You know, your choice of stamina of how you get it back. Of course, you wouldn't do this, but this is how you would put it in. So when they choose, say, the advancement, so when they choose a scion, that will pop up just as we saw it when you picked the scion sorcerer. All right, I'm not going to keep that. So this one here, you saw the talent part, level 2. A lot of the classes will get talents. All they have to do is check that mark on, and it'll increase the talent part of your character sheet. So it will, in your talents, is it techniques? I think it's under techniques. No, I've already forgotten where it goes in. Anyway, it'll allow you to have a talents. And of course, right now, the talents, there is general talents or multi-classing talents that you can have that are already built in. And these get accessed, of course, when you level up your character. So if you have Sorcerer Bob and he's going to level up his character, he clicks on that, and then here comes what we already coded, or what we already saw in the Sorcerer, how it would be coded. He automatically gets the Font of Magic and the Meta Magic, apply advancement. You know, I have 2 points to spend on which of my, again, this was a choice one. So I'm going to take a heightened spell and quicken spell, apply advancement. This is, again, the table that we created, that long table, telling us that we get another health point, another stamina point, an attribute point, known maneuvers and known techniques. And then it increases. I never made my stats, but increases that and so on. So short video, because honestly, the large part of what you've already learned from Ancestries applies to creating classes. So once you've created your class in your items folder, you've created your scion. Remember, you're pulling not from the items folder. I know this is probably my 4th time of saying it, but it's that important. You pull it from the compendium, and then after you've saved it, then you move your right click so it pops out. So then you move your actual class, the one you just created, then you move that into the compendium after you finished it. And that's it. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.